Hello everyone, it's Mouse here. I just found this in my Lego box and somebody made that for me. Do you remember it, Isaac? Well, it reminded me of a story that I'd like to tell you today. It's Sunday, so I'm going to tell you a story about the little wave. This is a book that I had when I was little, and I thought you might enjoy it today. It's a story called The Little Wave by Marjorie E Procter. Once there was a little wave, a very little wave, that sparkled in the sunshine all day long. There were tiny baby shells on the shore of the lake, which the wave visited every day. The little wave was very gentle with the shells. It never broke any of them. The wave played with all the other little waves in the great lake. They had fun together and sang and laughed and threw up drops of spray into the air. But the little waves did not only play, they worked and were useful too. They looked after all the fish that lived in the great lake. You can see some big ones and some small ones. They carried all the fishing boats which sailed across the great lake, and every day they washed the shores of the lake and kept them clean. One day, when the little wave came to visit the shore, there was such a crowd of people there that the wave could not see the shells at all. Among all the people was a man whom the little wave had sometimes seen before, a man with a very kind face, who looked as if he loved everybody. The little wave crept up and touched his feet, and the man looked at the little wave. He noticed all the fishing boats bobbing up and down at the edge of the lake. So he stepped into one of the boats and sat down, and he began to tell stories about God and his kingdom to the crowd of people on the shore. Can you see him? Oh, there he is, sitting telling stories. The little wave watched and listened, and the children in the crowd on the shore played with the shells and dropped them between their fingers. And the man in the boat, whose name was Jesus, went on telling the crowd stories about what their lives would be like if they listened to God in their hearts and obeyed him in everything he told them to do. Now, can you see how big the crowd has got? All these are people around here. And they're all listening to the man in the boat, Jesus, telling them a story and telling them stories of what they should do to listen to God. That night, the little wave was out in the center of the lake playing with the other little waves when a wind came hurrying down from the hills round the lake. "Get out of my way," cried the wind. "Can't you see that I'm in a hurry?" And the wind pushed the waves about and jostled them. The waves did not like that. They became very cross, and the more angry they got, the bigger they grew. They knocked each other over as they tried to push back the wind. Starting to look a bit stormy there. Can you see? Just then along came the fishing boat in which Jesus had been sitting earlier in the day when he taught the people on the shore. Look, it's getting tossed about on the waves there. Not such a smooth sea to sail on. And there was Jesus, still in the fishing boat. He was so tired after a busy day that he fell fast asleep on a pillow in the back of the boat. If I hold this steady, maybe you'll be able to see where Jesus is. He's at the back of the boat, fast asleep. Can you see? Right up here. The angry waves and the wind took the boat and tried to push it over, and some of the waves got into the boat and made everybody wet. You see this big wave going right over the boat there. The friends of Jesus who were with him in the fishing boat were frightened, and they woke Jesus up. Look at the waves splashing over the edge of the boat there. "Master," they said, "don't you mind that we're in danger?" Then Jesus looked at the angry waves and the big bullying wind and his frightened friends in the boat, and he was sorry for all of them. Look at those waves crashing over the edge of the boat. They must be getting very wet. He stood in the fishing boat, tossed by the wind and sea. He told the wind to stop, and it stopped. He said to the angry waves, "Peace, be still." The big wind became gentle and small and sorry and crept away into the hills again from where it had come. What a difference. And all the waves were very, very ashamed that they had got so upset, and they lay down and were quiet. So there was a great calm. Can you see the sea in the moonlight? And it's all peaceful and calm again. Then Jesus said to his friends in the fishing boat, "Why were you so frightened? Did you not trust me that I would look after you?" The friends of Jesus were very ashamed that they had been so frightened when Jesus, who could do such wonderful things, was with them. "What kind of man is this," they said to each other, "that even the winds and the waves obey him?" So the quiet little wave and his friends took up the fishing boat and carried it safely to the other side of the great lake, where Jesus had some more work to do for people who needed him. Then were the winds and waves happy, and they sang and laughed again because they had obeyed Jesus. There. Everything's much happier now. There. So that's the end of the story. But before I show you some other pictures, I've got some other pictures of that same lake today. So the lake is still there, and it's called the Sea of Galilee. It's so big, it's called the sea. And another name for it is Gennesaret. Now, so before we show you those photos, I wanted to say a prayer. And I wonder if you would like to say that prayer with me. It's a little prayer to ask Jesus to come into our lives and be with us all the time, so that we needn't be frightened, because Jesus would be with us all the time. So if you close your eyes, you can say this prayer with me as well. So while you're in your room, you can either whisper it very quietly or say it out loud. So I'll start the prayer and then you can repeat it in the gaps. So I'll go slowly. So if you just close your eyes now, I'll close my eyes and then I'll say the prayer and I'll leave a gap and then you can whisper it as well. It's to ask Jesus to come and live with us. So close your eyes. We say, Dear Jesus, I'm so sorry for everything that I've done wrong. I'd like to ask you to come into my heart. I'd like you to live with me every day. Dear Jesus, I pray that you would guide me in everything that I do, every day from now on and forevermore. Amen. Well, that was a simple prayer, but you can pray it any time. And if you want to talk to Jesus, you can just talk to him anywhere because he's living with you now all day, every day. And it says in the Bible that he will never leave you nor forsake you. That means he will be with you always, every day, forever. So now that you've just said that prayer, I want to show you, sorry, my fingers are all over the camera there, but I want to show you what the lake looks like today, the Sea of Galilee. So here we are on my computer. I've got a picture of a beautifully calm scene. That's what the Sea of Galilee looks like today. I'll go through a few photographs. So if you just, if I can do this, I'm not sure if I can do it with one hand. Let's see. There. Can you see? There's a boat in the middle of this enormous sea, which is called Galilee or Gennesaret. So let me see if I can do it again. There, look how peaceful it is. It's unusual to see it that peaceful, but it really is a beautiful lake. So big. Oh, I think, is that the same picture I showed you earlier? But let's go through another one. Look, that's gorgeous sunset. Look, there's no storm in that sky, is there? Hang on, if I lift it up and then maybe you won't get my fingers in the picture. Such a peaceful sea, but it is absolutely enormous. Oh, that's not it. That's the end of those photographs then. So I hope you enjoyed that today. And now you've got Jesus living in your heart as well. So you can always trust him. He will never let you down. So always have this conversation with Jesus. He'll always be there and he'll always listen to you. So that's the end of the story today. But I hope you sleep well and enjoy your day. And I'll do another story tomorrow. God bless.